Hello, my All in the Cards family. This is Keziah with All in the Cards, and I'm getting ready to do a new little small different series for the channel, as well as for my Patreonians, right? But this one is in remembrance of our ancestors that fought for a cause, right? And this is in reference of what they consider Black History Month, of what they decide to give us as the shortest month, or what they consider to call someone Black. I say indigenous, okay, native to the land. And so it is. So I'm starting off this reading in reference of Mr. Fred Hampton. He was a Black Panther family, all right? He was an American activist, a revolutionary activist, all right, in the Chicago area. This was him. As you can see, I have his picture up, him on the phone. Many things about, Fred Hampton and why he was assassinated and so forth you can find online. He was the leader of the Black Panthers and was assassinated in his home, okay, by the FBI, allegedly, okay, but you can look this up online. The police claimed that the Panthers opened fire on them, but it was evidence that showed otherwise. But this was all based off of the COINTEL and all that kind of stuff back in 1969, okay? So this is what happened to Mr. Hampton. These are many pictures of Mr. Hampton, okay? As you can see, he was a nice looking male that was all about the rights for back then considered Blacks, right? And so it is. So I definitely want him to come in and speak through the cards, family, and talk to us in reference of how he feels or what he wants us to know in reference of the climate of today. That's what I'm asking in reference of the cards and what he can tell us about, okay? So I'm using the Whispers of the Unsolved because I feel like it's a lot of things that are still unsolved, right? And I'm going to use both of these decks as well as the tarot to ask questions to his spirit. And I'm going to call in the ancestors. I have done his chart. He was very, very spiritually blessed. A lot of things in his childhood that may have been like, traumatic, okay? But he lived in the lion's den, right? So it was always going to be a situation for him based off of his astrology as I seen it, okay? Mr. Fred Hampton, he was definitely a force to be reckoned with, right? And he's definitely showing up as a Virgo man, right? So, Virgos are very spiritual beings anyway, right? So he could see before they even probably knew that, right? He could probably foresee what was going to happen or what we're dealing with still in this day and time. So I want him to come through and inspire our minds in reference of his spirit. I send him all peace, love, and harmony into the ethers, and I come to him with love. So Mr. Fred Hampton, Mr. Fred Hampton, we ask you to come in, speak to our minds in reference of what the questions is and any clarity. Mr. Fred Hampton, can you tell us what we would need to know in reference of all the things that happened in that time of you being assassinated and taken off of this earth? Can you tell us what we need to know of what we may not have known then? Can you tell us what we need to know, Mr. Fred Hampton, about what was going on in 1969 when you were assassinated through the divination of the cards? Thank you. Final ending. It was a routine, typical situation. He's saying there was some accomplice, right? People that that were working together in reference of his final ending. He said they did this. This was a routine thing for them to assassinate people that was trying to fight for their people. And what do you mean about the routine, Mr. Hampton? The law enforcement, yes, sir. And there's evidence also, he's saying, but this was a routine thing. He said they have evidence, but they don't pay attention to the evidence. He's saying that, look what flew out, the law enforcement. He's saying this is why he had his final ending, you know? He's saying, but there's plenty of evidence in reference of it, exactly the way it stated, that, you know, they assassinated him. Assassination, all right? Thank you, Mr. Hampton, for letting us know exactly that. I feel you on it. All right. Mr. Hampton, can you tell us in this day and time what we need to know about what's happening now and how to deal with the situation that we're still dealing with in 2025? Kind of similar to what you had and you were fighting for in the 50s and 60s. But tell us or give us any advice. Weapon. He like, oh, look, weapon and imprisonment. He's saying people still going to jail for weapons and imprisonment. He said this is what they did to him, you know, for having a weapon. And we're still fighting in reference of weapons and, and so forth. And he's showing, you know, people being imprisonment, you know, still fighting and still having to go to jail for this same situation. He's saying, you know, these are the things. What do you want us to know about the weapon? Especially in this day and time, we're asking for advice based off of what you went through, Mr. Hampton. Thank you. He's final flight travel and final ending. He's kind of like telling us that we may need to just get away. You know what I'm saying? Get away, flight travel. He's saying be careful also in reference of flights and traveling. He's saying that death is coming amongst flight travel, final endings, okay? Is what I'm feeling he's trying to tell us there. And I feel that that's true. He's just saying, you know, right now is not a good time to travel. So take heed. What else can you tell us? Any advice, Mr. Fred Hampton, in reference of those that are trying to just, you know, empower our people to do better? What is it that we need to know, Mr. Hampton? What is the advice? Surveillance. You're being watched. He's saying you're being watched. All right. So he's definitely letting us know we're definitely being watched. Look, the Democrats on the bottom, but not only just the Democrats, but he's saying they're watching all of the political party and watch the political party is also what he's saying. What other advice do you have for us, Mr. Hampton? The children, watch your children. He's saying they got it wrong. He's saying watch your children. He's saying they got it wrong. So you must watch your children. What else, Mr. Hampton, do you want us to know in reference of any advice for what the people are going through today? Love. Yes, love. Look, love, organized crime. And they were considered an organized crime. He's saying, though, have love over having to do this type of situation, any organized crime. He's telling us that it's about having love, right? What else can you tell us in reference? He's saying, yep, true. False in reverse. He gave me false in reverse, and he gave me the hotel and motel. I don't know why he's saying that. Something was false. I mean, something was true about a hotel or a motel, and I know, a death. Okay, so he may be speaking of, maybe even, I think he was at his home, but I know Martin Luther King was killed at a hotel. So he may be telling me that that was false in reference of that death. And he's also saying that his death was telling me some things that was going on in reference of it being true about that death. And that it was about, organized crime. That's sort of what he's trying to tell me, because I had organized crime and I had true come out, which false in reverse is true. And then he said death. So there was some type of death that was true about some organized crime that had something to do with the hotel. Somebody being killed at a hotel. And the only person I could think of was Martin Luther King. So he's trying to tell us that. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hampton. What else you want us to know? Any other details? You trying to tell us some, you trying to give us some tea from back then. All right. Hired. Yeah, he's saying somebody was hired. It was a secret weapon and they have evidence. Okay. Okay. So he trying to tell us about what was going on back then in reference of some type of crime that happened. He said it was true in reference of the death. Somebody was hired, and then we had that organized crime on the bottom of the deck that I shuffled, right? He's saying there was a secret weapon and there was evidence, right? But they probably will never come out and let us know that. So he is saying somebody was hired in reference of this situation, okay? He's telling us that was true about that. Thank you, Mr. Hampton. What else? He said it was premeditated. Look, he's still telling us it was premeditated. He's saying a lot of those deaths back then were premeditated, is what he's saying. Thank you, Mr. Hampton, for letting us know that. We kind of figured that, you know, it was a lot of assassinations going on back then to stop what you guys were doing, to stop empowering the people, to stop uplifting the people in any shape, form, or fashion. But your light still shines on, even through your children, right? And that may have been what you were saying too there about your children. Your children may be watched as well. That may have been a message to your child, and you're sending love to them, right? I love that. And to let them know that it was, you know, some people being hired and premeditated on killing you. Yes, sir. So I got that message as well. All right. Mr. Hampton, what else can you, and he said it was witnesses in reference of it too. Yeah. All right. So Mr. Hampton, what do you want us to know at this time in reference of 2025? What is it that you, okay, that flew out. Healing and recovery and get into alignment. Yeah. All right, Mr. Hampton. Legal proceedings. All right. Yeah, because there'll be a lot of legal situations that'll be happening, and he just wants us to recover from all of these things that'll be happening in the legal system. He's saying, you know, all these laws and policies that are being changed and so forth, and legal proceedings that are happening amongst the government. He wants us to heal. He wants us to recover and get into alignment on a spiritual basis. Yeah, and vibe high and don't be angry. Look at what he's saying. Vibe high and don't be angry. I love that. I love that. I love that. He gave us both the high vibes and the alignment card in reference of his advice. If that isn't enough, I mean, I don't know what is, right? So can you tell us pretty much any other details that you want us to know about back then in reference of the tarot, Mr. Hampton? Give us some messages through the tarot of what you want us to know. Anything you want us to know in reference of what happened back then, Mr. Hampton. There go the justice card. He's speaking. And the money. Look at that. Look at that. Speak, Mr. Hampton. And the same cards came out similar from Jack Nicholson. Same cards. And I shuffled that. Look. The Justice and the Ace of Pentacles. He's saying it was all about the money back then in reference of somebody paying to do some things to them as the Black Panthers. He said, and the police was against them all in all. In reference of the things that he had to endure, he said that he had to have the strength to get through all of that stuff, all of the situations that came up against him in reference of the justice system. I know he was in and out of the justice system a lot as well, right? All because of the things that that he had to endure, and it was all behind the dollar as well, he's saying. What else you want us to know in reference of what was going on with you back then, Mr. Fred Hampton? Anything else out of these decks? And I'm gonna pull some from the Truth and Words. Yeah, you went through a lot of pain. Yeah, he went through a lot of pain and suffering, he's saying back then. That's the Three of Swords, and then it's the High Priestess. So he's saying he may have even had like somebody maybe even to help him spiritually, or he may have had like maybe even the woman he was with was very spiritual. Okay, that's the High Priestess. That's a very spiritual being. And it's like maybe he even had heartbreak with someone who was spiritual. That's a female, because that's the Three of Swords, which is like heartbreak. So he may have had some type of heartbreak. And I got the Four of Wands on the bottom of the deck. Maybe somebody who he was going to try to marry. It looks like that's what he's trying to say here as well. With the 3 and the 2, it's like it may have been some earthly possessions in reference of why he couldn't do it. You know, maybe he didn't have the money. Maybe he didn't have, you know, enough to what he felt was enough to take care of her. And it was like a lot of things going on at the time is what he's saying. What else you want us to know, Mr. Hampton, in reference of the times when you were moving and shaking? What was going on in your mind in reference of the times, Mr. Fred Hampton? Speak through the cards in reference of what was going through your mind. Mr. Fred Hampton, what was going through your mind in reference of the situation at the time? What was going through your mind in reference of the situations at the time, Mr. Fred Hampton? Okay, the King of Wands. Yeah, and the judgment. He felt he was being judged. He knew that it was going to try to bury him. He's saying the King of Wands. He felt like it was the main mastermind behind taking him out, and this was who it was, right? As you can see, this looks like a Caucasian male, right? And then another male here, which was bringing in that judgment, is like an older male and a younger male, but definitely standing in reference of bringing him to his death. He's saying he had a lot he had to deal with back then with people being up against him. That's the King of Swords, so that's even worse. Okay, that's a lot of conflict he had with that person, and having that judgment come out with it definitely lets me know that he was going through a lot of things, and it was like a mastermind behind it. Look at that sword in his hand. You know, he was ready to cut his head off, is what I'm hearing him say. Mr. Fred Hampton, what else you want me to know about what was going on back then that you could tell the people that we may have not known? What is it that you want us to know? All right, so I have the Six of Swords. Yeah, now I feel like he's saying with this card, okay, because of course they didn't have like the computers and all that kind of stuff like this is shown here, but I do feel like he's saying that it was the Empress. He may have had someone pregnant, or someone was pregnant at the time of him trying to figure out a plan of how to get them out of something or get them out of a situation, because the Six of Swords is, the Six of Wands. This is the Six of Wands. Okay, so this gives me another meaning when I'm looking at this Six of Wands. So this is about him and this Empress. I feel like he was saying that he was happy with whoever this lady is that he had pregnant, and it was like his major success out of everything. He loved her. He was happy that she was pregnant, and he was trying to think of a master plan to get them out of I don't know, I heard Rakim's song when I said that, but he was trying to think of a way to get them out of the situation of what they were in Chicago, having to deal with the police, having to deal with, money being put on his head by the police, because that's what I'm seeing here. Everything here is allegedly all for entertainment purposes only, but I'm just reading Fred Hampton's energy and asking him questions. I feel like he's saying that they may have put big money on his head, is what he's saying here with the Justice and the Ace of Pentacles, okay? And I feel like he was targeted by whoever this King of Swords is underneath the Justice. But I feel like this is him, the Six of Wands. So he feels like his major success was within this Empress, okay? Was within this female who he had pregnant at the time when he was trying to just fight to get through whatever situations was being brought his way. With the Six of Wands, that's all about success. And with it coming with that Empress, his success was his child. What else, Mr. Hampton? I love that for you. I love that. What else do you want us to know about what you were going through, Mr. Hampton? Thank you, Mr. Hampton. The Emperor, yeah, and then comes the Emperor, he's saying, okay, authority figure, he's saying. And also, he was the Emperor of the group, but he was trying to have strength to get past this Emperor, whoever this Emperor was. This is Mr. Hampton. He was trying to have the strength. But this Emperor was coming down. This is the authority figure, okay? This is the authorities trying to come down and put the hammer in his situation that he already was trying to get past. He was just trying to look at the success that he had within his family, but he had a lot of heartbreak too, And I feel like it could have been heartbreak in reference of, even his mother is coming through for some reason. So it's like, maybe this was like childhood trauma of some sort, right? And then he had to deal with this Emperor, authority figure. Then he had to deal with these people over here. It was like, plus the police. It was like, and the police put money on his head. It was like so much he had to deal with. But the good thing out of it all is that he had this female that was pregnant, and he was loving her. And, it was like one thing after another. But he had a little bit of light in his life with her, But this authority figure was trying to come in and put a darkness back in his life, on top of everything, whoever this was. All right, here's the Queen of Cups. Yeah, and that's the female again, right? She was ushering and giving him a lot of love. And that's what he's saying, you know, and here's the King of Cups. Somebody was very emotional. And you know what? I look at this as him and her. He was emotionally attached to her in a big way. You know, he had a lot of love for her. Because this is like a couple, right? So I feel like he was in love with whoever this female was that he was with. I feel like she may have been pregnant, because I did see the Empress come up for her earlier. I do feel like he was very, very emotionally attached to her. I feel like he had love for her, and I feel like he felt like that was his success. He felt like, you know, he felt also successful in his work that he did too, because this is wands. This is the Six of Wands, but it was uncomfortable. It was a lot of foreign things he had to deal with, foreign people, foreign situations in reference of his work, but he felt successful in it. He felt that he was doing the right thing. He felt that whenever he put that group together, that's what it was. They was going to fight through it regardless of whoever he had to face, whoever this emperor was that he had to face. He felt like, it's all good. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make it do what it do. It was like he was sitting and standing in between. He had to always watch his back. And it was like he had to sit in between these two people, two groups of men, even some where it was ahead of the police. But also, looks like, you know what I'm feeling? I don't know why I want to say allegedly, but like even like the KKK that he had to deal with, that was with the police, and putting money on his head, and then even an outside group that people may have not even known that he had to deal with on the outside, may have been like a gang or something like that that was trying to come at him in another way in reference of the Black Panthers and so forth. But he had to deal with a lot, you know what I'm saying? Although he had the love that he had going on over here with the cups and everything and what he was emotionally attached to, but he actually had a lot of child trauma with the Three of Swords here in this High Priestess. I'm getting a lot of motherly energy there, where he had a lot of heartbreak, a lot of trauma and things like that was in the back end. But I definitely feel that the first two cards that he gave me was definitely telling me that the police put that on his head, right? Thank you, Mr. Hampton. This explains a lot in reference to what you was going through. Now, anything last cards that you could tell us out of the truth in words, Mr. Hampton, of what you want us to know, of what we don't know, or what you want us to know as a collective that may not be written, that may not be told, right? About the revolutionary situation you was trying to have happen. Speak through the cards, Mr. Hampton. I'm just going to pull a small spread in reference of what you want us to know. Speak through the cards, Mr. Hampton, in reference of what you want us to know, Mr. Hampton. Speak to the cards. Speak through the cards, Mr. Hampton. What is it that you want us to know as a collective of what we don't know at this time in reference of the Black Party Revolution? Speak, Mr. Hampton. Speak, Mr. Hampton. What is it that you want us to know that we do not know at this time in reference of the revolution of the Black Panthers? Ashe. Addiction. Oh. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Excuse me. I just ate, fam. I'm sorry. Addiction. Somebody had an addiction, he's saying, or there was an addiction, or he may have had an addiction, but there's something here he's trying to tell us about a sexual partner or some type of sexual abuse, payback, and a debt owed. Husband, okay, is here. They got it wrong, okay. Unconditional love and betrayal is here in reference of some type of payback and confusion. All right, so he's saying here that some sexual partner got it wrong, or they got it wrong about a sexual partner, or he got it wrong about a sexual partner. There's something in reference of this sexual partner and a payback or a debt that was owed, but he said there was some betrayal. Okay, they got it wrong. There was a betrayal, and the confusion is attached to this situation here in reference of this debt owed and this husband. Not sure who he's speaking of, but it also has something to do with someone having an addiction. All right, so this is what he's saying of what we may have not known, okay? This is something that he's trying to tell us of what we wouldn't have known anything about. I'll get that card that flew out. But can you give us clarity on this spread, Mr. Hampton, of what you're trying to tell us here? What flew out? Local. So this was happening locally to him in Chicago, okay? So he's saying this was all happening local. This was something that was locally happening. This wasn't something that was maybe even in the news or anything like this. This is something local to him happening. What else, Mr. Hampton, do you want us to know about this situation? Mr. Hampton, what are you trying to tell us? Give us clarity in this spread here. Give us clarity, Mr. Hampton. Clarity, please, in reference to what happened. Oh, okay. A friend. Okay, so he's trying to say something about a friend, okay? This sexual partner is quiet about this situation, has never talked about it and won't talk about it. So this is something he's letting us know about, a sexual partner or some type of situation. Could have even been retaliation or sexual abuse or sexual assault is what this card is about. But someone being nonverbal about this situation. We also have they got it wrong on his soul. He's saying they need to stop, or somebody should stop, but they got it wrong, and then it's his soul that's there. So something that they said in reference of, of what could have went on around some type of sexual partner locally of some sort, that they got it wrong and something was not talked about. Now we also got the payback situation here, and a debt owed about some type of data or some type of something that was stored. It could have not even been about data, because this is also my card about a convenience store. So some type of payback or debt that was owed in reference of either a convenience store situation or some type of data. So I feel like it could have been some type of data. Data could be data could be some type of documents, right? Correspondence, something that was stored. Okay, could have been something that he knew about, he had, not sure, but he's showing that, yes, this is the Sun card. This is my yes card. He said he was betrayed. It was unconditional love for someone he had, unconditional love for, and it was a betrayal he went through. Yes, and he's shining the light on it, and it's definitely beside that they got it wrong, and it looks just like that they got it wrong about the betrayal, but it's something on his soul that he took in reference of something being shined on it, shining his light on it, saying yes, he was betrayed, or there was some type of betrayal, or maybe he's looking at it like it wasn't truly a betrayal, because he's saying they got it wrong, he wasn't betrayed, or maybe he was, yes, because I'm seeing bloodline beside the confusion. So something in the bloodline or something about the bloodline, somebody who's connected to him in some shape, form, or fashion, there may have been some type of confusion. And then we have signs on the husband. So I don't know if there was some type of signs that was happening then, or some type of situation that's connected to this friend and this husband, somebody in his bloodline, and some type of confusion in reference of betrayal. They got it wrong. It's connected to a sexual partner. Somebody was doing some payback. Okay, this could have been something in reference of what was going on during the time he was living and, going through some things, family, okay? Because that's what he's pretty much saying here with the messages, okay? I don't know, because that was way back in the 60s, right? Or 50s or 60s in reference of what was going on. People that lived during his time and knew his situation wholeheartedly, because this is something close to him is what he's explaining, okay? And it has something to do with a sexual partner, somebody in his bloodline, somebody that was a husband, because I don't think he was married, maybe even a friend, because the friend and the husband is the same energy, okay? So it could have been some confusion around that and some type of betrayal, okay? Somebody tried to pay him back. This could have even been something that contributed to his soul, because they got it wrong, or his killing may have been, I didn't see setup, but I do see that somebody was quiet and didn't talk about the situation, and this was happening locally to him, okay? So that means within his city, within the situation. Remember, we had the heartbreak with the high priestess that came out, so that also was giving me some type of secrecy that was painful to him, sort of as what we have here. And it could have been attached to, now I told you I felt mother energy, but I don't know, this said friend, so bloodline is here too. So we can do clarity on that Sun and that unconditional love, Mr. Hampton. What you trying to say? The Sun and the unconditional love, Mr. Hampton. What you trying to say here? about the unconditional love and the son, Mr. Hampton, of what was going on with you. Somebody was going to go get something or shopping. The crow, he's saying this is a warning. This is about something around his death, like I said, because the crow always comes out when it's something attached to a death. Okay, so that could have been what he's saying. Somebody sent somebody in to go get him. See, this is somebody going to go get something. Okay, so betrayal. Okay, he's saying somebody betrayed him. Okay, yes, somebody betrayed me. Yes. Okay, and they were going to go get something. They were coming to come get him. Okay, and there's the crow. Okay, that's the warning. Look at the trauma behind the warning. Okay, Mr. Hampton, I see what you're saying here. Now, why are you giving me the bloodline and the confusion, Mr. Hampton? What's going on there? What happened with that, Mr. Hampton? Bloodline and confusion, Mr. Hampton. Money, yeah. Money is the root of all evil. I just heard in the city of Chicago. He's saying the bloodline, there was some confusion and betrayal and things that they were doing around some type of money situation in the city, he's saying, okay? So there was some type of situation he was going through with someone in his bloodline, somebody that's connected to him by DNA, okay? And it was a lot of confusion. This person may have stabbed him in his heart, stabbed him in his back. Okay, they had it all wrong, he's saying, that cost, and it was on his soul in reference of them doing this, and there was some type of payback, because the payback in the data stored is the same as the money. So this was some type of situation, okay, that caused him some harm, looks like. Okay, and he's just trying to talk about it. He's trying to tell us in the city, this is what was going on. Why is the store in the payback here, Mr. Hampton, about what was going on with you and whatever this situation was that you're trying to explain to us? Malicious, yeah. He's saying somebody was malicious. Yeah, payback, the hustler, by any means necessary for the what? The money. So somebody in his bloodline might have even set him up. See what I'm saying? Malicious, he said. He said malicious. There was some type of payback. They felt that it was a debt owed behind some money. This was connected to the bloodline, but it was a confusion of that. See? But when you do this, when you have this by any means necessary. Death or dishonor. Because of this, they stabbed him in the back. My God. Okay, Mr. Hampton, I'm gonna leave it there. I get what you're saying. Somebody was nonverbal. Give me the nonverbal and the sexual over there, Mr. Hampton. What was you trying to tell us about the nonverbal and the sexual partner or sexual situation over here? You was trying to tell us about something that was going on nonverbal. Somebody wasn't talking. Yeah, he said they know. Mr. Hampton said they know. He needed help. He needed healing. He needed help. He needed healing. He said they know. Whoever this sexual partner was that didn't talk about it or didn't say nothing, he said they know. It's the same energy as the nonverbal. He said they know. My God. All right, Mr. Hampton, we're going to leave you with that. We appreciate you coming in and you telling us some of the things that you had to deal with and all the stuff that happened. And I'm sorry that they took your life in such a short time. And then we do see that a lot of it was malicious. We seen you was dealing with many people, many groups of people that was coming at you and how to, you know, justice and the government and all that stuff. Because we seen the police and all of that had the money on your head, allegedly all for entertainment purposes only. But we do see it in the cards. And we see that you were definitely betrayed, right? And they got it all wrong in reference of what happened. And it was a lot of malicious things and it was some payback. We do see that. And some of it was in reference of the money, but also in reference of, we know it was about some money that was put up on your head. We know it, you showed it in that Ace of Pentacles with the Justice. Much love to you, Mr. Hampton. May you continue to rest in power, all right? And may you one day get the justice for everything that may have happened to you in the physical, but also we know in the spiritual, they have to deal with that as well in the spiritual courts, right? So we send peace, healing, and love and harmony your way, Mr. Hampton. May the revolutionary things continue to be in your honor, and we give you all the gratitude. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Send you back. Thank you. Peace, family. Hit the like button on the video.